Hi there, you're watching Market Cafe on ET Now with me Shreyansi Singh, and with me as always is Snehisha, and over the next 1 hour we'll take you through news and updates from within the country as well as across the globe, tell you which stocks you should keep an eye on and tell you what the brokerages are saying as well. But first up, let's take a look at what the Wall Street did and mixed moves largely coming in, Snehi.
Yes, absolutely Shreyansi, mixed moves coming in, largely flattish moves coming in from Wall Street, not much happening on that front, but well, one index to watch out for was the Dow Jones Industrial, because that average futures have sat near flat last line after the blue chip average clinched its longest winning streak since December. Those moves followed a muted and mixed day on Wall Street. The Dow ticked higher by nearly 0.1% and posted its fifth positive session, which marks its longest winning run going back to December last year. The S&P 500 also inched up about 0.1%. Nasdaq, however, slipped slightly, ended the day in the red, down 0.1%. So not much happening when it comes to the intraday trading session on Wall Street. Mixed moves coming in, but rather flat. Now, the 10-year US Treasury, that was the one to look out for, because that yield took a leg down in the session, providing upward momentum for stocks. But the market was hampered by a slide of more than 9% in Disney shares after the entertainment giant missed Wall Street's revenue expectation and offered a soft guidance. In after-hours trading, Lyft and Wind Resorts added more than 6% and 2% respectively on the back of stronger than expected quarterly results. Reddit also was in focus because that has surged more than 14% following its first earnings report as a public company. Remember, this company has been recently listed on the bourses. Now, earnings remain top of the mind for investors heading into Wednesday, with Uber and Shopify slated to post results before the bell. After the bell, include technology names like Airbnb, Instacart and Bumble, in addition to the so-called meme stock AMC. So we'll be watching out for all of these results overnight as well. But nearly 85% of the S&P 500 corporations have already shared quarterly results this earnings season. Of those, approximately 80% have surpassed Wall Street expectations. This is according to FactSet. So good momentum when it comes to the earnings for this season, at least across Wall Street. Traders will also watch for economic data on wholesale inventories due this morning. Federal Reserve officials, including Vice Chair Philip Jefferson, Boston Fed President Susan Collins and Fed Governor Lisa Cook, are all expected to give remarks throughout the day. Remember, yesterday also we had some comments coming in from Bostic as well as Williams. So we just have to watch out what all of these people have to say about the Fed's inflation tackling policy and the road ahead when it comes to interest rates. But largely, this is the handover coming in from the US markets. But let's just focus and talk about what Europe is doing in solid gains coming across European markets. DAX is up almost 1.5%, FTSE up 1.2%, and the Pan-European Stock 600 index also saw an uptick of 5 points, 1.1% higher is where that index is as well. So flat moves from Wall Street, but remarkable moves coming in from the European markets. But Shreyansi, tell us what's happening with oil, and not much as well, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. And when you look at crude oil futures, you're not seeing much of a trade there. It was largely a muted session in that crude oil futures were little changed as the US moved to replenish the strategic petroleum reserve, and a potential ceasefire in Gaza remained uncertain. Now, the US Energy Department announced a bid for the purchase of 3.3 million barrels to help replenish the strategic petroleum reserve, lifting oil prices earlier in the session before ultimately closing lower. So ended the day nearly flat, and the oil market has grown tighter, with global inventories declining by 300,000 barrels per day so far this year, as OPEC Plus has largely adhered to production cuts, according to a report from the EIA. Now, when you look at price moves coming in, then when you look at WTI, that was down about 10 cents or 0.1% thereabout, and year to date, the contract has gained about 9%. When you look at Brent as well, that was down about 17 cents or 0.2%, and year to date, that contract as well has gained about 8%, and there remains significant uncertainty surrounding developments in the Middle East, which is something that the market is looking out for, which could still lead to sharp increase in oil prices. And this is, of course, according to the EIA. Now, when you look at what commentary we've seen coming in recently, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that the ceasefire proposal accepted by Hamas was very far from Israel's vital demands. Now, oil prices have briefly made moves higher on geopolitical risk in the Middle East for months before pulling back, as no major disruption to supplies has occurred. So the kind of moves that you've seen for US crude oil and Brent are both about 7% since their April highs, when traders bid up prices on fears that I just talked about. So you've seen largely that geopolitical risk premium also waning off, and with a ceasefire remaining elusive or at least uncertain at this point, it remains to be seen what happens to oil prices from here.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.